It's a beautiful morning at the Kings Mountain Farmers Market. And here in a minute, you'll see Debra Blanton doing an interview and Hank Coleman with the Hank Cole duo. He'll be playing us a song at the end of the video.
I do know. Sandy D is from the state of Montana.
Okay.
And that's why she calls it this. And of course, without the blue sky, there would not be these lovely flowers. And Sandy D used to sell it in Shelby's Farmers Market. But with the farmers market too, they just brought her closer to home. And the products would be fresher. Yes, it is.
How about some fresh foraged mushrooms?
Pollen is for plants to reproduce and make more plants. Now, these plants feed animals. These plants feed us. If we did not have pollen and pollinators, we would be gone within 3 years. 70% of what animals and plants produce are consumed by animals and humans. Just think cucumbers, squash, green beans. Those are all done by pollination. And pollen simply is the male reproductive part of a plant. Plants have two species in there, the male and the female. The male is produced in the stamen of the plant, and that's where the pollen originates. The female part is called the pistil. That's P-I-S-T-I-L, not bang bang pistol. Okay, so the pollen gets transferred from the stamen to the pistil by different methods. One method is wind pollination. It doesn't involve any insects. Things that do wind pollination are the grains like oats, wheat, barley. That pollen is carried by the wind and the breeze like we have today. If something was pollinating out here now, you would have pollen all over you, everything. That's how that is accomplished. It's transferred by the wind. Corn is the biggest example that we're familiar with for wind pollination. Have you ever walked through a cornfield when the tassels were all out and ripe and the pollen was flying? You would be covered. Those pollen grains attach to the silk coming out of the corn into the corn stalk, and every grain sticks to a silk and transfers down that silk all the way to the bottom where it meets the female part, and that's why you have a grain of kernel. If you've ever had corn and you had missing spots in the corn, there's because it did not get pollinated. So think about that when you buy an ear of corn, you pull that shuck back and you see that full rows of corn granules. every one of those was pollinated. That's why they look that good. Now that's wind pollination. So a lot of things do that way, but a bigger pollination source comes from insects. And things like butterflies, wasp, good old red wasp, bumblebees, and especially our favorite, the honeybee. The honeybee is the only insect that makes food that the people can eat. The bumblebee is a different sort of bee. It is a bigger bee, and it's the only bee that can pollinate tomatoes. A honeybee cannot pollinate a tomato plant. A bumblebee has to do that. The way that is fixed up, it's hard for the honeybee to loosen the pollen. Now, here's Jean.
Okay, if you notice on this bee right here, a honey bee, it has some pockets on its legs. Now, like you step into your pants, okay, you've got pockets. You have an Easter basket, guess what? You're looking for those Easter eggs. Well, the honeybee has pockets on its legs, and it takes the pollen and says, I'm going to put as much pollen in my pockets as I can because I'm going to take it to my hive so I can make what?
Honey.
Honey, that's right. Okay, tell me something that pollinates. So what? What is pollination? What needs to be pollinated? Flowers. What else? Plants, vegetables. You know what? The honeybee does not have to have us. But we have to have that honeybee or we cannot live.
If you step up, you can look at them, they're safe. There's no flying out. It's all encapsulated for show purposes. But hey, you can actually see the bees work. You might be able to spot a queen in there. And a queen will be large.
You have to find the queen. The queen is larger than the rest of the bees.
What's to find the queen? Because they all look alike.
Inside the educational hive, you'll see pollen. You'll see the frame where the bees work. You'll see the bees taking care of each other. What else will you see, Henry?
Larva. You'll see little white larvae in there, and you'll see capped cells. That's the darker brown cells is capped. That's new bees that are hatching out, and they're just not ready to come out yet. A worker bee takes 21 days from the day it's laid till it hatches out. The male bee takes 24 days, and a queen takes 16 days to hatch out. And normally you'll see honey in there, but these guys have been little hungry, so they've eaten all the honey over the night. And I wanted to mention, we've got these sheets on pollination to hand out to you. Some of it shows different flowers that are pollinated, and they make different flavors of honey. Wildflower honey is just a general term for whatever was blooming whenever the honeybee got it. It could be blackberries, it could be blueberries, it could be apples, it could be poison oak even. So they do a lot of different things. But pollination is a big, multi-billion-dollar industry in our country. We have commercial beekeepers driving bees all over the United States to pollinate. such as almonds in California, apples in Washington State, and other places. So pollinators are important to all of us. We cannot live without them. And we're celebrating pollination this month. Thank you.
She stands there every morning, looking the other way. I've got to glance as I pass with a smile on my face. Now she looks just a bit embarrassed to have been caught that way, in a bright red towel and just a smile. What a way to start the day. She stands there every evening, watching me make my way home from my daily grind that takes up most of my day. Now she's hiding there in those bushes like she's waiting there to play, in a bright red gown and just a smile. What a way to start the day. But now she stands there in the sunshine, stands there in the rain, stands there in the moonlight, and never once complains. Well, yeah, all those good things, they ain't made to last. I know someone's gonna come along, remove her from this path. Now it might be this big old semi-truck whose driver only caught a glance, or it might be some fundamentalist church taking a community stand. But yeah, she stands there in the sunshine, stands there in the rain, stands there in the moonlight, and never once complains. She's just a statue. No, she has no say. She might sport a bit more makeup that would suit my taste, but she's standing there and she's bare. So I stare every day at that bright red towel and just a smile till they take her away.
And here she is.
That's it. And they did take her away. She's not there anymore. But she is.
One of our
she
biggest
does live
fans.
on Hank Cole Facebook.